I'm hungry. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gabrielle Sally, and I'll be introducing our speaker for today. Dr. Janie Outlaw grew up in our home under the dome. Her parents, Karen and Gordon Outlaw, had Dr. Outlaw baptized here at St.Bernardine's when she was born. Dr. Outlaw is a proud Catholic and continues to share God's love through her work as a pediatrician. Before entering medical school, she left Maryland for college and received her Bachelor of Science degree in Pharmaceutical Sciences with a minor in chemistry at North Carolina Central University, also known as NCCU. Dr. Outlaw also became an Alpha Lambda Initiate of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, Incorporated, while studying at NCCU. After graduating from NCCU, Dr. Outlaw obtained her Master of Science degree in Food Science with a minor in Food Safety from North Carolina State University. She continued her journey to medical school by attending an international medical school in Grenada, which is a country in the Caribbean. 4 years later, Dr. Outlaw graduated cum laude and began her pediatric residency downtown at the University of Maryland. She will complete her pediatric residency next year and will continue her training with the University of Maryland for Pediatric Gastroenterology Fellowship. Dr. Outlaw is a reflection of Christ's kingdom as she took the road less traveled to obtain her medical degree, and she continues to reflect the kingdom through mentorship, advocacy, and giving back to her community. Please welcome Dr. Outlaw.
Thank you everyone who is here. It is a pleasure and an honor to be here at this beautiful church that I grew up in. And I want to say a special thanks to my village who is here, and a special thanks to my parents who are unable to be here physically, but who are watching on YouTube. So today, R.O.C.K, Reflections of Christ's Kingdom. The first reading begins with the story of Peter being enslaved by King Herod, who is known for the massacre of the innocents. For context, the massacre of the innocents is when Herod was so afraid of Jesus, who we know is the one true king, that Herod got every male under the age of 2 killed. Now, going back to our readings for today, Herod had James, brother of John, killed and saw that this pleased the Jews. So he then arrests Peter, put him in jail, and planned to kill him, all to make the Jews happy. Meanwhile, God already had Peter's back. He sent the angel to come and set Peter free. And get this, Peter was sleeping comfortably while all of this was happening. Not a worry in the world, because he already knew God had favor over his life. Despite what King Herod's plans were, God still freed Peter. Which brings me to my first 2 points of this talk. First, do not be consumed of others people's thoughts. And second, God will deliver and strengthen you. Being so consumed of what others think of you can easily guide you down the wrong path, especially with the current obsession of media, whether it's social or TV. In a moment of transparency, I too catch myself, mindlessly scrolling Facebook and Twitter, or logging in to see how many reactions I received from a post. Looking at folks I don't know, some of who I do, wishing and thinking, I wish I had this, I want to do that just because I see them doing that. And I find myself being consumed of what others think of me. It is not healthy, and it's not necessary, but most importantly, it's not of God. Christ told us not to worry in Matthew 6:34. Christ also told us that the beauty lies within in Peter 3:3-4. And more importantly, Scriptures tells us not to be consumed of this world in Romans 12. So why do we involve ourselves so much with what others think of us? Why do we take on that burden of others people's thoughts when it doesn't even matter? Why do we try to reflect the world when we are called to reflect Christ? Well, it's because we're human. We are wired to want belonging. We actually need belonging. But we have to be mindful and have discernment of who and with where we belong. Peter didn't belong in jail to be killed because he was destined to share the gospel. God delivered Peter from death to spread the good news about his love and protection. Which brings me to my second point. God will strengthen and deliver you. Our second reading from 2 Timothy today is Paul speaking to Timothy about endurance, strength, and rescue. Paul writes about keeping the faith and waiting with love. He also talks about how God stayed with him, gave him strength, and rescued him from all evil and death. Simply, Paul talks about God strengthening him and delivering him. Being patient, finding strength in God, and enduring hardships while we are being delivered is not an easy task at all. Especially when we are so consumed with other people's thoughts about us. It becomes heavy, we might feel alone, or even less than. But I am here to tell all of us that God provides. Okay? God did not make us in our neighbor's image. He made us in his image. We are all reflections of Christ's kingdom. Easier said than done again, but we have to be very intentional about how we spend our free time. We have to be aware of what we consume, whether it's TV, music, things we read, things we hear in conversations, the list goes on and on. During this consumption, again, we may feel like God is not with us. We may feel like he doesn't care about us. But I am here to remind us all that he does. Just as Peter was locked up, sentenced to death, and freed, God will do the same for all of us. We just have to have that mustard seed faith. We have to have the Peter's faith as he was big chilling, sleep, knocked out, knowing that God was going to deliver him. God sent an angel to deliver Peter, and God has been doing that for all of us too. We all have angels watching over us. We woke up this morning, we here, we're in our right mind, kind of right mind. But we all gathered here today to praise his holy name. So no matter what the situation may look like, no matter what storm you may be in, and no matter what shadow or valley of death you may be walking through, God is here. And I am here to remind you that Jesus had already delivered us from death on that cross. And God will deliver you from in between that rock and the hard place that you may be in. Okay? But most importantly, God will use that rock to get you out of that hard place. So this brings me to speak about the gospel that we read today in Matthew 16. Jesus was asking all the folks who did they think he was. And everybody said everyone but Jesus except for Peter. Now Peter said, "Now you know, Lord, you know it's you." Peter was not consumed by what others thought of him or what others said. He knew who Jesus was. He knew that Jesus been the way, been the truth, and been the light. And after all of that, Jesus said, "You know what, Peter? You are the rock, and on this rock foundation, I will build my church." Peter spoke the truth, did not care what others thought or said, and was delivered as the rock for which Jesus built his church on. And it doesn't even end there. Then Jesus gave Peter the keys to the kingdom of heaven. So throughout our reading for today, Peter has been locked up, sentenced to death, spoke his truth throughout, didn't care what others thought, and was delivered from death and given the keys to the kingdom of heaven. Wow, Peter was going through it. But this brings me to my third point. Make sure you speak up about God's truth. We are all reflections of Christ's kingdom. We are the disciples that are tasked to spread the good word. And remember that actions speak louder than words. Be diligent in sharing your time and treasures and bringing awareness to Christ's kingdom. And more important, be patient with yourself. A walk in faith is a lifetime's journey. We have ups and we have downs, we have good days and we have bad days. But remember not to be consumed of others' thoughts. God will strengthen and rescue you. And with God's strength, you will be able to speak up about Christ's truth. Being a reflection of Christ's kingdom is remembering that we are a rock and we are all a part of the foundation of Christ's kingdom. God made us in his image and we are perfectly made. When people see you, you should want them to see a reflection of Christ because that is who we are. Do not be ashamed about anything about yourself. Don't hide behind the wrongdoings of others because you are consumed with their thoughts or afraid to speak up. And remember that God always has your back. God will deliver you. We just have to pray, trust the process, and walk boldly in faith, and be the rock, the reflection of Christ's kingdom that Christ has called us all to be. Thank you.